Okay, we're going to do the promoted post. With the promoted post template, it comes with a grid. The reason why you have a grid is because you can only use 20% of the Facebook promoted post for text. Because Facebook doesn't want a whole bunch of ads with crap loads of text in it. It's going to make them look ugly. Less is more. So, in this grid, this is the grid that Facebook uses. You got 5 squares to work with. That equals 20%. So let's bring in the logo that we got. There's 2 ways to do it. I would recommend going through Adobe Illustrator and opening it that way because it actually gives you more control and a cleaner logo. So there's a stacked one. I'm going to open it up through Illustrator. There's Illustrator there. Now what you want to do is got your black arrow. You just click, drag across. That means you're selecting the whole darn thing. Okay, you want to go to copy paste. There you go. You want to copy under edit. I'm going to go Photoshop and you want to paste this guy. Paste. And you want to make sure the shape layer is selected. Why? Because it retains, it's more editable, it lets you colorize things. Pixels is just going to, you might as well just open it through Photoshop and I'll show you why. Okay, so there's your guy here. I say if I don't like the color with the shape layer, actually, I'm just going to call this Discover Shape for right now. Okay, I can just double click on this and I can click and just choose whatever color I want. Okay, alright, so we're going to do that. Say if I want it bigger, I can go in and use the free transform tool. Show you where that is. Edit, free transform. Okay, right there. So I'm going to transform that up, holding the shift key to make sure it's scalable. So if I double click on that, pretty good, right? That's nice and clean. Everything's awesome. Relatively clean here. So if I was to go the other way and open this directly through Photoshop, I'll show you. Look at all this awesome stuff I make for you guys. Oh, where is it? Discover Stacked. Okay. Okay. Now I can choose to open it up in, a higher resolution. That's one way to do it. But if I'm just going to do this, I'm going to open it up. Opens at 72. If I bring this in, bring it in here, okay, that's great. Oh, it's small. Alright, whatever. Well, can I colorize it? I can colorize it. I can go to the effects down the bottom here. I can go to color overlay, and I can pick whatever color I want, and it will colorize it for me. Now here's the deal. What if I want to scale this up? Well, you're kind of stuck because it's only scalable to the size that you brought into. So if I was going to free transform and I'm going to scale this up to the size of, this one, shoot, I'll even make it smaller, so technically it should be of higher quality. See what happens there, right? You got fuzzies all over the place because this one here, the red one, is all pixel based, and the brown one there, or whatever, the Discover Shape layer, that's vector based in a pixel editing program. Wrap your head around that. So I'd recommend, if you can, use, I'm going to delete the red layer here, use the shape layers if you can. Bring stuff in that is vector and has a .eps on the end of it through Illustrator, and then copy paste and bring it over that way. It makes your life a lot easier because it's flexible. You can scale things up and down, and it's pretty easy. So as far as that goes, there's my little rant about that. So we want to make sure this thing takes up no more than 5 squares. Now, you don't have to have this thing positioned in one of these squares. You can have them all over the place, as long as it just takes up roughly the space of 5 squares. Like stick them, or 4 squares in this space. Stick them in a box, line everything up, and make sure it's good. And then position it wherever you want. Rotate it. 20% is 20%, no matter where it is, right? So, okay, we're going to do that. So now we got to throw in a picture. Okay, so let's throw in a picture. Where are you guys? Where's my pictures? Where's my pictures? Oh, down here. I'll find one. No, there we go. That's the one I want. Okay, there we go. I'm going to pull this out. Okay, and I'm going to drag it in. This is my way of doing it. Other people like to split the screens in half, but honestly, I don't have time. I know where the screens are already. So I'm going to scale this guy up, and again, using the transform. Scale it up. Now, scaling images up, just telling you, it's probably not a good thing to do, but this is really just for demonstrative purposes only. Every time you scale something up, you lose the resolution of that image. So if you bring in an image, you want to actually be scaling it down. But these images are really low res anyway. So, okay, so there you go. Looks pretty good. So one other thing I want to show you guys, and what I want to have in the assignment, is that you need to have an adjustment layer with a layer mask. Adjustment layers are awesome things. Layer masks are amazing things. So what if your client says, well, hey man, like I want to have this fire just blazing hot, whatever. Okay, so you could go in and you could use your eyedropper tool and make a new layer and like color some stuff in there and like saturate it and junk, But if the client doesn't like it, you're kind of committed. So the idea is to do non-destructive image editing and make sure everything's 100%, and you can change it on the fly, because who wants to spend time redoing work, right? You want to move on to the next project. So you want to go to layer and adjustment layer. Very important, you get adjustment layer. So then you go down. These guys up here are basically exposure, brightness, contrast, the overall contrasty feel, how bright the colors are, and that kind of stuff. Down here is the actual interesting stuff. This is where you get, messing with the colors, the saturation, the filters, etc. This stuff here is, well, it's inverting is useful, posterizing and selective color. That's more advanced stuff. We'll touch upon that possibly later. Right now, go select hue saturation. It's a good all-around tool to use. One thing that I really want you guys to do is make sure this is clicked on. If you don't, this adjustment layer is going to apply any adjustments that you make to all the layers below it. This clicked on only applies it to the layer directly below it, right? Previous layer to create clipping mask. So you create it, that clipping mask, that's your layer mask. There it is right there. So you go in and explore this awesome, you slide the stuff around, you see what happens, right? It does all kinds of wacky stuff. Saturation basically removes the color. If you go down here and you saturate, it's just boosting the image, right? And you go down here like so. Lightness, etc. 0 is just the default. So what I want to do is I want to boost up the reds, right? Let's see. Well, if I do the reds, let's see what happens. I'm going to max out the reds. Hey, that's pretty cool. So let's max the reds out, right? Okay, here you go. Let's send it off to the client. Nah, that looks pretty bad. The sky doesn't look right, but this looks good. So let's mask off everything but this, right? So, got my mask selected. When a mask is selected, all you see is black and white. So you want to have the black on the top, the white on the bottom. You want to have a brush selected, B for brush right there. Big brush size. You can mess with the opacity. If it's at 100%, you're basically just, use it's like an eraser tool, right? So I'm going to erase all this stuff away, erase all that stuff away, erase all that stuff down there, and blend that a little bit. Boom, there you go. You can turn this layer off and on. You can see the difference. It's subtle, but it's enough. Well, maybe there's a little bit right there. You can make the brush smaller. You can go in, just kind of blend it off. And there you go. You've got, 20%. You got a logo in there. You've got an adjustment layer, and you've got a layer mask. The end. Catch you next time.